Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Arcadia Creative Musical Arts and Sciences Program podcast. This is, what are we in, week number 6 now, and it's pretty cool what's been going on here. We've had a fantastic week again. We're coming off of a stadium show, quite literally. We're going to try and get some footage up from it onto this episode, but if not, it definitely be on the lookout that for next week. But we are going to talk with some students about their experience. This was truly in a football stadium. We roll out a stage. There's all kinds of lights. It's a gigantic PA system that's actually still kind of uncooperative. Unfortunately, it's a big space to push that much sound. But the kids make it work, and they work really, really hard. And actually, I just wanted to say quite publicly how impressed I was with the work that so many students did last week to make it happen, particularly on two fronts. One was our returning students really stepped up to lead and demonstrate by example how this all needs to work. But maybe in a way more impressively, the number of new folks. There was a group of them in particular who just knocked it out of the park. I cannot fully express how impressed I was by that. And it's a hard thing to make a show of that kind of complexity work. Even to make it work badly is a massive undertaking. And this show went off incredibly well. We partnered with our marching band, which was the first time we'd been able to do that in literally like a decade. That was amazing. And we continued doing some amazing stuff with our technical theater friends. And I wanted to say a special shout out to both Mr. Fisher and Mr. Fairchild for partnering with us on this event. And as we move forward, we continue those partnerships, and it's a pretty wonderful thing. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting these students, and we hope you enjoy. You can find us, this podcast and more, our recording archives and music videos and tons of stuff at arcadiacmas.com. So be sure to check that out as well. We've come off of a very busy Friday.
Oh boy.
Stadium show. We had kind of an extra podcast episode, sort of a mini performance, but we did a lot. Released last week's EP, released last week's podcast. How'd you guys feel about the week? Or Friday in general? Like, you guys were all involved in different ways.
It was really tiring.
Yeah? But good or just tiring?
It was a good kind of tiring because, I felt like I did a lot.
You did?
And it was like,
you actually did.
After I was like, whew, sleep.
Yeah.
Noah, how about you?
I'm happy with the way things turned out on Friday. I'm very happy. I'm very thankful we had all the people there that we did have. I'm sad that I wasn't there for the live stream though on Friday because I was with the rock and roll club lunch table.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that I didn't even list that. So we had that going on as well. So everything all at once.
Yeah, so I missed being able to perform a song that I'm excited to perform because it's really fun.
I see, but you guys are doing it this week.
Yes, this week.
Actually, I have to say, it's kind of cool in a way that there's enough of you doing enough things at a high enough level that we can do all of that stuff simultaneously. I mean, I agree with you. There is sort of like, it's fun to do the other parts of it because it's just fun to do the other parts of it. But it was also kind of nice to know that nothing was going to fall apart in the process, which is kind of cool. Carter, how about you? How was your sense of last week?
I mean, as much as I didn't go to the actual Friday show, which sucks, I should have done. But
that's all right.
But
you got 3 more.
It was crazy on Friday with everything getting set up and everyone performing in the CMAS room.
I will also say, to be fair, I don't want to jinx anything, but last Friday, that whole organizational part of it was honestly, it was a lot, but it was also probably the best logistical planning that happened. Like, as a team of people, you guys were literally to the point where we got down to the field late, mind you, because we were having some issues with how we were going to transport because of the elevator issue, if you recall. Mm-hmm. And you still managed to get everything plugged in, checked, and operational perfectly. Well before the game, Ari, literally, I'm like, everything all right? He goes, I'm bored. And he didn't do it in an obnoxious sort of way. He was like, there's nothing to do. We did it all, and it was just ready to go. And honestly, a lot of that was because Well, first of all, some of you guys with more experience stepped up to help the newer folks be more comfortable quicker.
That was fun.
But some of it was also the new folks kind of killed it. Like, I mean, they really like just were like, okay, this is what's going to happen now. There's some wonderfully OCD people this year that came in new.
Didn't you say they labeled everything?
They did.
Yeah.
I had asked. I'm like,
that was
if
cool.
I asked them if you could. They traced. So when we went out there, every line from every source, and remember there were 28 of them, was labeled and verified from not just the source, but all the way through the entire system, and then back out to every monitor, to the mains, the front. I mean, all of it. It was lunacy, like how well they did. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that bodes well for the future. If that's happening, that was week 5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was week 5. If
and
that's where
freshmen.
we are, week 5. It's yeah. So I'm actually, but I also think it's kind of cool, and I don't mean to be talking so much, but I'm just so proud of everybody. It was interesting watching those of you with experience, rather than getting irritated by them stepping up. It was more like, this is great because it's making it work so much easier. Like, I think it lowered your stress level. Like, I didn't even realize until somebody pointed it out later. We didn't even go rehearsals. Normally we would do rehearsals all the way through the whole school day. We would pack up after school, possibly not even doing them the live stream after school. We were in such good shape that you guys did all the packing before the end of school, which is why we actually kind of got stuck at the end of the day we didn't plan for that show to actually happen. It was more like, if we can pull it off, we will. That was a pretty good thing to be in. Would you how did it feel being in the actual show itself? Like did it feel good? Did you do it last year? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
I did not.
I did not.
Wait, maybe I did. I think I did. I did a bunch of game house band riffs. But being in a,
I know you did a bunch of them. I can't remember who did the stadium.
I don't think I did a stadium show.
It's literally 500 gigs ago.
I helped out moving stuff around because I was in appreciation, so I didn't feel comfortable stepping in.
We moved you in later. Okay.
Yeah.
How did it feel being on the field, though, guys?
Oh man, it was.
Did you like it?
Dehydrating.
Well, it is Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. But was it fun?
It was so much fun, dude.
Yeah.
I was like me and John and Brooke, we'd be up on that the stage drumming, and then I look over and I just see Gabe. Gabe jumps up on the stage. We're like, oh, okay, sure.
I've had several people be like, "Who was the kid with the white CMAS shirt and the really long hair and the mustache?"
Bro,
he was really
awesome.
enjoying himself. That was the best comment I got. Somebody was like, "He seemed to be really enjoying himself." I'm like, "That's Gabe," and yes, he was.
Oh yeah.
No, we were during the Spanish song. Me, John, Brooke, we were getting into our Arcadia CMAS, the Arcadia music shirts. Yeah. And then we just see Gabe behind it. We're hiding behind our drum kits. Gabe's just like, "Hey guys," we're like, "Wait, what? Oh, hey."
That was cool too. Like the whole show went over well. I don't know if you could tell from the field, but behind us, we were at where we had set up front of house on the track. We were near the stands. They were loud, singing along to all 3 songs. But when the Spanish one kicked in, because it was just the acoustic guitar and bass,
I heard it.
It was loud. The crowd was loud. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Carter, I don't want you to feel left out of this conversation. And I do
that's
think,
fine.
well, no, I think it's important to also keep in mind that, and I'm not saying this to be funny, some of it is in the first year, it's like trying to figure out, what do I want to do, what do I not want to do. But for what it's worth, this is, we finished week 5. That was show number 12 this year.
You've been keeping track?
Well, it's on our event calendar.
Oh.
We did the freshman assembly, we did the stadium show, and we've done a lunch and another live stream of some kind after school every Friday for 5 weeks. 12 shows, 5 EPs, 5 podcasts. My point is, 12 shows, 5 weeks, if you start doing the math, there's quite a few others coming. So you can jump in on any of those.
I really want to get in on that Ingleside one if
Cool.
I can.
Absolutely.
Produce there.
Well, no, I mean, you came from there.
Mm-hmm. No.
You did not?
No.
Wait. Okay, I'm just 0 for 2 now. Where did you go?
Echo Canyon.
Echo Canyon.
Yeah, no.
We need to get there too. But we can definitely have you at Ingleside. The fact of the matter is that it's always fun to go play there, but the more of you that are closer in age to the people that are at those places, I think the more effective it is. It's not that I don't want to take seniors or folks that have been playing for a while. I will. But I do think there's something about having people that can be identified more. Because one of the ironies of what we do is people there are confused by what we do. Okay, that happens. I get it. We're unique, and it's a weird concept. Fine. But then it turns into, well, yeah, but I don't know how to, like, a few years ago, you guys wouldn't remember. These are folks who graduated before you got here, but we had a particularly talented group of seniors who were all in the same hour together, which was awesome. But they would do these shows, and then the comment sometimes would be things like, this is cool, but I can't do it. I can't possibly play as well as them. And the whole point was, well, yes, you can. I love how the stick acrobatics are coming through on the
Let's go.
full screenshot. All right, well, now it's your turn, Cardi. Oh, now we're pausing back. Okay, anyway.
For next year?
You must have had ideas. There must be things you're like, that was fun, but could we add in, or could we alter, or could we whatever?
Oh, more wireless sets for the guitar players.
Yes,
and bass
I
players.
know.
Please.
I know. You know what's actually odd? Those wireless systems, I was expecting, statistically, at least one of them was going to fail. We've always had interference issues. There's always been... And again, I'm not saying that to make excuses like people ought to be like, oh, whatever, you know. It's just the gear can only do so much. My problem is also just, I mean, the truth is we could probably seek grants to replace it. But the problem I have, and for what it's worth, is you're talking about, like the PA system, for example. To get a PA system that's going to even have a hope of doing what we needed to do in a stadium, probably $80,000, give or take.
That's a kid in here too.
Yeah. So just to run the logic through, let's say we got the $80,000. My issue then is, okay, we buy a PA system for a show. Can you imagine what else we could do with that kind of? Do you see what I'm saying? So it becomes like, you know. So I'm not saying we won't ever do that, and I'm also not saying that your friends are wrong. I'm not saying the mix was perfect and they have bad ears. I'm saying there's other factors involved. I mean,
that's fair.
You know, 3 weeks ago there was a whole big thing about, I guess I forget where she was playing, but Beyonce was in town, right? They had to shut the show down for I think 15 minutes or half an hour because their PA system failed. It was Beyonce. So we're talking top of the line gear run by people who are at the top of the food chain in terms of the skill set. That PA system failed in a stadium of 80,000 people or whatever were there. Again, not an excuse. I'm just saying it gives you a sense of the realities of what's being dealt with, and we're dealing with acoustics that we can't, you know. The other problem too is it also would depend highly on where they're standing. We've learned that one too. If you're standing right in the middle, you get one sense of the mix. If you're standing on the sides, it's a completely different sound in there because we don't have the speakers to boost it. That said, if anybody's watching this and wants to donate the requisite tens of thousands of dollars, please. Although Noah would like the wireless systems.
Please. Yeah, could you imagine how many Squire Strats we could buy with $80,000?
With $80,000, we're not buying Squires, that's for sure. But that being said, I think if that's our biggest problem, you know, like you said, you had a blast playing. It went over very well. I mean, the overall, your friends notwithstanding, the overall response was hugely positive. You know, it was really, really well done. And this stuff's complicated. It just is. It's one of the reasons why we need to get more music videos out. I think if people could see that in that more controlled environment.
I know a people.
You know a people? You guys have one ready, right?
Yeah.
Can we get that one actually in the can this week, you think?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. We should do that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today.
Yes.
All right. So we are here a couple days, I guess, 5 days. Wow.
No,
like
it doesn't.
been
No,
a
it
while.
doesn't.
But we are on Tuesday after a very busy Friday. You guys were all involved in the stadium show that we did.
Yes.
You guys all kind of killed it. You really did.
Thank
I'm very
you.
serious.
Thank you.
It was really.
Thank you.
I was just talking to a different group in a slightly different context of a segment, but we were talking about the fact that new folks like yourselves, but especially you guys, kind of stepped up.
New folks.
Well, no, but
Especially
what I
folks.
mean is that was the smoothest run stadium show we've had in a very long time. To the point where, because of all the prep work that you guys, like the unbelievably aggravating OCD labeling prep work, but the way you guys were so aggressively organizing, we got out there late because we had the issue with the elevator. We got done early enough that one of my more senior students, I'm like, "Are we good for this, event and everything?" And he goes, "I'm bored. It's already done." Like, you guys still managed to, even getting out there late, have everything set up faster than anybody anticipated. There were so many moments where that happened. It was really cool though, but it was really. All I kept thinking is, that's week 5, and the people responsible for that are new.
Yeah.
Dear God,
We were
a year from now,
We
or
were-
even 3, that's like unbelievable how on you guys were.
We were talking about how, like, at one point we were like, "Oh, we're all freshmen. We don't know what we're doing here." And then suddenly we were just like thrown into it.
I expected a lot more people to sign up.
Oh yeah.
And then we didn't see anybody, and I was like, "Oh, so is this how every event's gonna be?"
That's a fair question. Here's the deal. It's going to be exactly like what we've talked about in class. There is kind of two sides to this program.
Yeah.
There are people like yourselves who will get excited about it and see the opportunity, and you'll just actively take everything you can. And because you do that, you will accelerate your process.
Yeah.
I would argue exponentially past everybody else. I don't have a problem with that because you're actively the one. It's not like I'm picking you. It's just you decide to step up. And then there are other folks who are just here. They like it, but they either don't feel comfortable with it, or it's just not why they're here. And I think that needs to be okay as well. I look at it more like, we had the stadium show. You guys ran it. You guys were essentially, you were in charge of it, whether you realize it or not. You guys were basically, but I love that. I like the idea of you stepped up. So, sorry, a lot of words, not a lot of content.
Just about to
The
say
real-
Maxwell
I
rant.
know,
I was like, there was a Maxwell rant.
No, but in truth, the real answer to your question is, if you want the gigs, then yes, they'll all be like that. You can have the spot.
Yeah.
And that's
We're doing the Channel 12 thing Friday. 5:30.
It's so-
Okay, it's
so
honestly,
early.
if you think about it, that's honestly not as bad as someone would think. Just like, oh, we're gonna be on the morning news.
Yeah, but it's early.
Yeah. Okay, so
It's still there's
back
no
to
way
stadium
around the
show.
earliness
I don't
of
know
it.
So
when
we-
I'm gonna wake up.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna bother to get. I might as well. I'm making my dad drive me to Starbucks before we go. Okay.
Caffeine is not good for you, Lily. Caffeine is not.
If
good
Starbucks
for
is
you.
even open,
You-
He drinks tea.
He drinks tea. You can't.
With no caffeine in it. Coffee is also gross. I don't know.
Coffee is
that's a separate segment.
amazing.
Let's
Okay,
go back to- let's
okay.
go back to what we're talking
Talking. Okay, so there's two things I mainly want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, actually, small one. Funny moment from Friday was when
Fun.
there were many, but you said we couldn't complain about the water. Okay.
I know, we're working.
Okay.
For
There
our
was
listeners,
when
there
we
is
got
a
out.
justified complaint.
Yeah,
that we need
when
to
we got
provide
out on
more
the
water.
field
And that's fair.
Yeah, when we got out on the field, and we did like the whole sound check, like and we had to get off the track, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone had to, all the musicians, right, had to unplug their thing. Me and Blaze stopped them. We went around and we labeled
that.
everybody's.
because everyone was just gonna put it on the floor, and I
and
was
we're
like,
like,
I know
no.
that people are gonna lose
Oh yeah,
them.
we
Noah
went around. We
went
went.
to take his out of like everything, and I was like, please don't do that.
No, we went around. We labeled
You know what?
everyone's
Good for
by
you. You
name.
said please. So as far as I'm concerned, you're fine.
You
said
see, I don't know
please.
if we actually said please or if we perceived it as a please.
So I don't know if this makes it funnier or not, but I watched what you're talking about happen, and I saw there was a slight moment of, wait, okay, you know what? I'm not going to upset her. I'm just going to follow her instructions. Like, I was watching the musicians do that.
I
It
was
very
not.
funny.
I was not having a very good day that day.
Yeah,
I
you
will.
were kind of wiped out.
I was.
But
I'm.
you did great.
Yeah.
Okay, you were wiped out because you did not bring enough water and you didn't eat.
I didn't eat that much that day.
Self-inflicted wounds.
That was my own fault, and then something else happened that day.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I will say this though. Look, at the end of the day, you guys are a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I don't think anybody actually cared that you were new. Once it was established that you were there for real, that's really why. That's the whole point. Nobody was like, "Wait, I'm not listening to her. She's in CMAS 1." It was, okay, wait. They were just up in the main room doing all that other stuff. They are clearly invested in this, so nobody had an issue with it at all. What's cool about it is the back end of that is now, as you see things. Because I have a follow-up question for you guys, which is, what would you like to see other than the water, which is valid?
Yes.
But what else do you want to see added in for the future? Because the truth is, you've got as much right to add than... Okay, Lily's already got her hand going on.
All right. Dear Tech Theater.
No.
This isn't me complaining. This isn't...
Yeah.
No, they're amazing. Okay, they, like, set up the stage and everything for us, and they were great. Okay? How come they got a cane spread, but we didn't?
I have no idea.
Why didn't you get
we
us
were
canes?
actually talking about
I had no
One
idea
of
they
our
had
friends...
that.
One
we
of
were
our
talking
friends,
about food and water, and we were like, how about this? Next time, let's all put money in, and let's have
Right.
a bucket of snacks and a bucket of water
Exactly.
Yeah.
on the side.
We could actually, if you guys even want to do that for Friday morning, we could
Look,
totally...
you
do that.
told us you
Please.
were gonna buy us a pizza.
I never said that.
Yes,
You said if
did.
we chipped in, you were going to put
You
a
did.
form in the Google Classroom
Did I?
and say...
You said that we could all chip in to buy
Was that
pizza.
before or after I had my hand surgery? Be sympathetic here.
That was before.
Look.
Before.
See, look.
That was
Old
before...
man hands.
Exactly!
not what that
Okay,
is. It's not
before we get too off topic
That's
again,
hurtful.
another thing.
No, but I'm thinking more like, if I can, just to because in all seriousness, I'm thinking more like things that actually would help the show specifically run better for you.
I mean, I would like to include something like with the what's it called? When we were doing rehearsals for
Yeah.
Smells Like Teen Spirit,
Yes.
and there was
Are
like
you talking about during the morning or the
during
couple days before?
during the morning,
Okay, yeah.
and there were like 6 other people in the room, and I was like, okay, great, I don't have to do this by myself.
Oh, yeah.
And then I get on. And,
Okay,
like,
it's some of
literally-
those
no,
people-
Hold on, Lily.
Okay.
Wow.
You did not just Maxwell me.
Wow. Wait, my name's become a verb?
I have decided
Yeah,
that it's a verb.
Basically, yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
so like
That doesn't make me happy.
I mean, you did it to yourself.
That's fair. That's also fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
No, but what were you thinking?
I was thinking because like literally when it was about to go,
Yeah.
everybody flaked.
Yeah.
And I was asking
I know.
people, I was like, "Are you gonna get
I
up
know,
on there
I
with
know.
me?" And then
Props to you, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were the only
Yeah.
person actually ready, and then Diamond went up with you because she saw
Diamond's
that you were
amazing.
the only
She was
person who
supposed to
went
be
that
up.
was
here,
like
but
a
she
happy
couldn't.
accident though. Like
Yeah. She had
like,
so
we were
much
going-
fun.
we were
I would
going-
also like
yeah.
to say, I'm trying to defend people here, man.
No, it's not about it's not about defense or not. I think there's something more fundamental here, and I don't think anybody's wrong about this. I think part of it is some of you are more fearless than others. Other people. Well, no, because
Fearless.
Look,
Speak
no.
now.
It can get. Look, no, but we've been doing this for so long. I can tell you part of what happens. I'm not saying this is applying in every case, but part of what happens is people are very excited. They're ready to go, and then they get out onto the field,
Oh yeah.
and they
And it just hits them.
make
It's
a
like-
mistake of looking behind them where there are literally a couple thousand people, and if that gets into your head, you're done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying but it's a reality of what happens. The fact that you looked around and you're like, whatever, let's go do this. That's awesome.
I
Diamond
mean, I
joined you
thought-
similarly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because people flaked because they were like, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
drop
some
the
of them
ball
actually had like a
intentionally.
really good like
There's like a
excuse. I
panic
won't say.
attack.
Yeah.
Well, no, there was also something else, but I won't say their
Okay,
name. Like,
that's all right,
but like, genuinely, some of them couldn't go on, and then I was like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
Like, they came up to me and told me,
Yeah.
and
You should
then
probably talk to me too, but that's okay. I get why
Okay,
they wouldn't. 'Cause
yeah,
they'd be
and
nervous
then
whatever,
they-
but yeah.
and then I was like, okay, so then everybody else will go because we had a bunch of other voices. I look around, no one's there but her,
Right.
and then Diamond takes a mic and goes on with her,
Yeah.
and
It
she was
like- it
amazing.
such an accident though. Like she said that she was coming out there to help me with the mic, and because she thought we were supposed to grab the mics, and then I was just like, okay, we're going on.
So in the same way,
It was
and,
fun,
and
though.
this is maybe the important takeaway. In the same way that when push comes to shove, if I'm like, we need a vocalist for XYZ, you can be very sure I'm watching when these things happen, and I am, and you're gonna be like the first person on the list. It's not picking favorites. It's literally what
Yes,
I've been
it is.
saying. It's
it's not.
actually really not.
Just kidding.
It's who steps up and does it.
Yeah.
When you want the production gig or anything else, because you stepped up when like you even pointed out, you're like, I thought there'd be a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
The fact that there weren't isn't the issue. It's that there's somebody there so that the show happens. When you're the person who makes the show happen, that's the point of it. That's then when other things come up. Yeah, I'm going to start coming to you guys first. I don't care. If the problem is we haven't done that type of show yet because we're new, that's really easy to resolve. Also, I still maintain if you did the stadium show in any capacity, none of the others are running the studio in here is not nearly as complicated.
We learned that the hard way.
Yeah, that's the point. But you know what? You could talk to. There's a young lady who actually graduated a number of years ago, Emma. I'm going to have her come in. She's now working professionally. She went from here to the pandemic, right after she graduated, and she was saving up. I've talked to some of you about her. She was saving up to go to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. Working at Target, working at Starbucks, actually, believe it or not, both, just to save up money to go. Another alumni of mine called me just as we're exiting the pandemic, and he's like, the company that I work for, and he helps kind of run, he's like, we are desperate for qualified production engineers. Do you have anybody that's ready to go now? I gave him Emma's number. Emma is now working professionally, doing very well.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
And my point is she actually didn't even go. And I'm not saying she learned everything here. That's not what I mean.
Screw the timer.
It's no, but what I'm saying is that that's the reason I knew she could take the gig was because Emma is like, I've seen what you're describing. I've seen it before in her. Emma was like you, exactly like that. She was just like, oh, there's a gig, cool, let's go. And it wasn't, well, I can't this or I can't. Now, obviously, she didn't do every single one. Life, I get it. But I mean, as far as a philosophy, that's what I'm saying. Step up and do it. All this is just pressing buttons and moving sliders. Our biggest problem, you know what our biggest problem really was on Friday?
What?
The gear we have can't handle the stadium. We don't have a PA system. We haven't talked about that in class. Why you guys, as soon as we go into it, you'll be like, oh, now I get why. Do you remember how like in between there were a couple of moments where all of a sudden all you could hear was the drums acoustically on the stage because everything else died?
Oh yeah, wasn't there were
That was
something
because
messed up, didn't it?
The power amps that we have access to can't run the system long enough to maintain the wattage for all those speakers because you have to move. It's literally physically moving air. I'm not making an excuse. It is what it is. And we could go for a grant and ask for it, but the $80,000 or so it would take for one show, I don't want to spend $80,000 on that. I'd rather spend $80,000 on this stuff and other. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
like I said, I think you guys killed it. I've been talking about you as a group. I'm not kidding. Like, there's this group of CMAS 1 students. They're killing everyone. It's so cool. It's so cool. The other part of it, and this sounds a little ridiculous, and at some point we'll have conversations about this because, not to sound, I don't want to get into a whole big thing, but the music industry is ugly and brutal. And as women in it, you should be aware of how to, frankly, protect yourself. But if you can control your own narrative, I have another friend who's in Nashville. Her name's Laura Walsh. If you look her up, she's amazing. Laura's a singer. She went from basically doing like any gig she could get to. She now is like headlines at like the major clubs down there every weekend, all the time. But she controls her own narrative, and she's a young woman in the industry. And people know they don't mess with her because she knows how to navigate it. That being said, I shouldn't say this on the podcast because somebody's going to get upset, but I'm just going to be honest. It is hysterical to me when there are young women like yourself who know what you're doing. It screws up the high school boy mentality. They don't know how to handle it, and it's just really funny to watch. It's hysterical That's why when you made your comments when
You
they were
like squash
unplugging,
paint.
Okay.
when they were unplugging,
About
you go,
that.
stop, don't do that. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to win.
Okay. Okay.
It's beautiful.
About that, like when about like us like taking charge or like them listening to us, I think I kind of noticed that happened when I don't know if this happened to you too. When you disappeared, I didn't. Okay, when you disappeared.
You did.
He disappeared, didn't he?
Everybody
Towards
was
the-
Was
like
there a
that
puff of
room.
smoke? Was there like a poof and I was gone?
You went to go get
Basically,
waters
yeah.
to put in your backpack instead of giving to the children. So yes,
I gave it to one of the children.
One of the children.
one of the
Out
children
the
that had to
lots of
share
them.
it with everyone else.
Well, that's Grayson's problem.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways,
Okay.
Oh my
Anyways, when you disappeared, we got bombarded with every question you would have been asked.
Oh, good.
Well, yes, good.
Well,
but it's also
wait.
like, is this what we sound like to him every 5 minutes?
No.
Okay, did that happen to you guys when?
I was with you the entire
yeah,
show.
like
so-
when people went to ask questions or they didn't know what to do and he disappeared, people started asking us.
Oh yeah.
See, but
We were
that's
in the
actually-
middle of because it was
We were
it
in
was
the middle-
after the show,
It was
right?
after the show.
So we were waiting to pack everything up, and then we were in a conversation
Yes.
because we lost you, and then a ton of people
And
started
they were like,
coming
"Where
into
do we
the group.
go? Where do we put this?" And I'm like, "The boxes are labeled, right?"
Okay, but that's actually really good because that means that exactly what I told you on day one is true. No one cares. They looked at you and thought, clearly people who have invested in it and know the answer, that's all that was. That was who's reliable. I'm going to who's reliable to get guidance. That's good.
Yes, it was very stressful because, like,
I'm sorry.
I
That's not my intention.
no, it was
No.
okay. It was also because she's the only reason I'm alive right now because of that. I said that like I got really hot, and like I said, I didn't drink a whole lot. I didn't eat a lot that day, and I wasn't like I was not in the right mindset.
Right.
And hold on. What was I saying? Oh yeah, we had said that we were moving stuff, but we weren't moving as much as everybody else. We packed the whole.
Well,
We packed the thing up.
We packed the thing up, but then on the way back, when we were bringing
Yeah,
the
we were
gear
bringing-
back, I had one of the bigger speakers.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
those
so
things are
sorry. I
Well,
missed
no,
witnessing
no,
that.
no. Like me and another person, we
Okay.
took
Oh, yeah.
turns,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
like it was still a lot.
Yeah.
That
But
thing weighs like 4 times as much as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like
Heavy.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
I was the door holder.
So, but you know, okay.
that's
I
me. I
think
felt useless
you know
like
what?
the entire time because I'm a vocalist and like during when everybody's doing with the production and stuff
Right.
and nobody's rehearsing, I'm like sitting in the back like I don't know what to do, and I kept saying like they can even tell you I said like 5,000 times. That
Oh,
day,
yeah.
I feel so useless.
Oh yeah, a bunch of
But
people
you-
asked
but-
us like, "Hey, what do you need from us?" And like, get out of the way.
Right. Well, okay. So some of that is okay. So,
That-
so
but
some of
JK,
that,
JK.
Some of that though is the reality of, and I say this frequently. Okay, our ASU intern friends,
Mhm.
some of them were there, and they were like,
They were
"What
so
can I
much
do to help?"
fun.
Which was
Yeah.
really cool. But at one point, and he understood, but I was like, it's not that I don't appreciate help, but by the time I explain it to you, under the clock we are currently under.
Oh yeah, especially when
And
we got
that's,
out there
I
late.
think, really probably what you were dealing with if you think about it. A
Mhm.
lot of times that's the issue. It's like it's not that it's like thank you for helping, but here's the thing, we're gotta
Yeah.
especially on the front end of a show like that. I also think, at the end of the day, that's how it grows.
Mhm.
If you had fun and
Oh yeah,
enjoyed doing
definitely
it,
had
It
fun.
was like the best day of my
but
life.
then,
Oh,
but,
yeah,
no,
it
but
was
then,
great.
But then other people will get that vibe from you,
Mhm.
and then they'll come in and do more. The problem is COVID killed so much stuff for that.
Oh yeah, I
It
I
was
can't. I was
so
thinking about that
hard.
the other day. How was COVID with this program work?
The short version, and then I do need to move on to our other segments, but we need to keep talking as a group. This is great. Like, you guys are awesome. So the short version is when they declared the lockdown, we had an extra week to plan. That Monday when we came back to school, we were all online on Zoom, and I just simply said, I don't know what it looks like, but we have to have something on Friday. Every Friday. That's when we started, ironically enough, that's when we started doing live streams.
Wait, really? The live stream shows are not that.
They're not that new.
Oh.
There's a whole embarrassing admission that I have to make every time this comes up. I don't know why it took a pandemic for me to figure out we should be doing YouTube on a regular basis.
God, Max.
But that's
It's
but
like-
that is what happened. We were the most active high school music program in the country because every week
Mhm.
there was at least one, if not two, live streamed events. We were still creating new music. Granted, nothing of any like. That's not fair. There was some really great music made, but it wasn't consistently like big productions because it was like some people only had like their phone and the Chromebook that the school had given them, so they couldn't really access stuff. I mean, you probably had similar scenarios, right?
Oh no.
But we kept. Well, but that may not have been a bad thing. But we kept. The point is, we kept doing whatever we could do so that the stuff would exist. That's why you keep hearing me talking this year. And I realize for you guys, you don't have the perspective of the other part. That's why I keep saying things like, we need to make these shows happen. That's why I want to push the lunch show's production value so much, because I feel like if we can make that and the podcast sort of like our new standard, then from there it can stretch out to whatever you want.
Like letting a freshman host the podcast.
That's coming next week, kid.
Yes! Yay. Sorry.
No, but that's my point. That's my point. You guys were, admittedly, you were not wrong, but the joke that you were kind of making that I disappeared.
Oh, yes,
twice. I didn't do that to you on purpose. I truly didn't. But here's the reality. That's exactly what happened then, and you guys were like, okay, we will make this work. That's actually what's supposed. Like, I've never understood that with other teachers. Like, you should be able to go away and your students can still function. Like, what is wrong with you that can't happen?
Based on how we were crowded, it felt like no one was able to function. Like, they were zombies. Like, where, what, where, how?
No.
I'm kidding.
Well, I feel like there were specific groups, though. Like, if you were there the entire day, you knew what was going on. And then there were a lot of people that could only show up for the game, which was fine, but they didn't know 100% what was happening.
So how do you balance it? The other side of this you guys are going to have, because we're going to get heavy into doing recording sessions, because one of my goals for CMAS 1 even is, as I've said, by the end of the semester, everybody does at least one full session in our studios, but somebody's got to run this, and I really don't want it to be me. But you run into the same exact thing of, okay, we need to make a recording exist. We'd like it to be something that people actually want to listen to.
Yeah.
But now we get into things like, okay, that's really cool. Is that really the right person to play that part or sing that part? And then you have to figure out, how do we gently reconfigure? Well, no, because you also don't want to kill somebody's creative energy. It takes a lot. I can tell you from my own experience, there's a reason why I've been putting a lot of energy into this instrumental rock stuff of my own. I'm not saying that nobody needs to go. It doesn't matter. My point is, for years, I was trying to figure out how to do the singer-songwriter thing that I wanted to do. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. That's okay. That needs to be okay. I'm actually doing better with this other stuff once I finally let go of all that. But it took a producer friend of mine and a lot of long conversations for me to finally go, maybe this other thing. You guys able to do that with your friends that are in your classes and in the program, everything grows from there. But it's also a lot of responsibility. Yeah. Next year, I want to go back to Nashville. You walk into Nashville, that recording studio, Blackbird, is one of the nicest studios on the planet.
I want to go to Nashville so bad.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's no different than here. Don't get me wrong, the gear's nicer, but the process...
I was just about to say that.
Right. Of course, well, yeah, it's like a $20 million facility. Let's not kid ourselves. But a microphone is still a microphone.
Yeah.
And an equalizer is still an equalizer. And the fader is still a fader. It's not like it's suddenly different.
Yeah.
My thought is, by the time we go to Nashville, if this is where we are after 5 weeks,
then we're gonna do.
Oh
big
my
things.
goodness, what you'll be capable of by the time we get there. And they'll let us run the sessions, which is rare. They usually don't allow student groups to do that.
But
Yeah,
but
they've been very kind to us there.
Yeah,
It's a blast.
another happy thing I wanted to point out about the other day at the halftime show, like, it was literally like, I think it was so awesome to the point where I didn't even care how it sounded or not. It was just like,
Well,
it was really cool.
yeah. I was
Oh, yeah, as
people
soon as
in
I
the
got
crowd were
home-
singing along.
Yeah.
That made me feel really good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we were sitting on the wall in between the crowd and while watching them play, and it was just, one, everything working out, but then two, everybody actually interacting and enjoying it made me feel really good that it actually worked.
Yeah. There's nothing like a crowd response to make you feel like all the work was not a waste of your time.
Yeah.
All right, last thoughts, because I could talk to you guys forever because you're awesome.
I know, we're great.
And I also talk too much.
What was... Yeah, that
You and
too.
me
I'll take that. I'll take that. Fist bump. I'll take that. Okay, thank you.
It was directed at you too.
That's okay. I'll take whatever little I can get of
Little I can
sympathy.
get.
Any
The one
sympathy I can
with
get.
the dad jokes book on your desk.
That I saw
I got that
when
from my
walked
dad
in.
for Father's Day, actually.
That was given to me as a gift by other students. On Halloween. That's the scariest part of that.
No.
There was a calendar that went with it actually at one
Oh,
point.
really?
Oh,
Okay, last thought
Yeah,
about the
last thought. What do
halftime
you got?
show. I'd do it again.
Good.
for sure.
I'd do it again.
I mean,
And
yeah, you signed up for this Friday, so you are doing it again.
Yeah, but this is.
So am I.
I think did
Oh.
we all signed up for
Yeah.
Good.
Friday.
We-
yeah.
I
Oh,
swear to you, that
Can
would
I?
be easier.
I need to look at the camera. This is a reminder to myself.
What's that? Hold on, wait. We'll do it.
This is a reminder. This is.
Hold on,
This is.
wait.
Okay.
We're
The-
gonna,
Hips.
stop. He's gonna zoom in on you. There we go.
Shut up, Yasmin.
Okay, ready?
Hold on.
All right, Lily.
Okay. This is for any future CMAS student, and this is also a reminder for myself. Bring water. Don't
Yeah.
wear black jeans.
And have a nice day.
No.
Yeah.
Eat decent food and not
Yeah.
sushi from Safeway on the discount sushi day. And
Why would you do that ever?
because it was good. It was honestly like really good.
Safeway chicken.
She
I
ate
didn't have
some
it.
of it.
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
you
Ray
did?
did. You shared
Oh.
it with Ray.
Oh, me, Rachel, and Ray.
Okay, that's just horrifying.
And then,
You're weird.
yeah, don't wear jeans. The jeans was probably like
The
the
jeans
biggest
was-
Well,
regret.
okay. How about this?
ever.
Make sure you know how hot it's gonna be outside.
There we go. Plan ahead.
Even though it's gonna be like 110 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys, honestly, I'm truly proud of you guys. I mean this very sincerely. Every year, I'm always looking to see, will the program be in good hands when the current older group graduates? And some years,
Maybe.
the truth. Well, no, some years the truth
Maybe.
is. Some years
Maybe.
the truth is I have to go. Thank goodness we have a couple years and we can skip. Not that anybody's bad intention or not good people. I just mean, for some people it clicks and for others it doesn't. For you guys, it clearly clicked. So honestly, you just tell me what you want to do. I feel
Okay.
like we have a clarinet serenade or something going on out there. That was
I think
weird.
Yeah.
Is that a keyboard?
It was probably the keyboard.
Fair enough. Either way.
At least it's not the drums playing loudly.
Yeah. Our drummers actually,
I love
pretty
the
good.
drummers are so much fun.
they are.
Yeah.
I just remember us trying to connect cables and then us couldn't figure out or hear each other.
You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate all of you. I really do. Any last 30 seconds? What do you got? Anything?
Ayo,
You
but-
got rid of the
Ayo,
fan. My
but-
hair doesn't look like
Ayo,
crap.
But. Ayo,
My hair doesn't look like crap. You got rid of the fan.
Oh, I could have put it back on. I'm sorry.
No. No, please don't.
Maxwell makes a lot of typos, by the way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. How we doing, Sean?
Excellent.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. What do we want to chat about today?
He said he wanted to bring up Pink Floyd.
Want to talk about Pink Floyd?
I
Yeah.
guess.
Maybe you should start.
Let's talk about Pink Floyd. Why not? We've talked about lots of different bands collectively. I don't think we've had a segment yet on a specific, like the segment devoted to a band. So let's start with Pink Floyd. Why not?
I like to start this off by saying the best album ever, not just from Pink Floyd, but from any band ever, is Animals.
Really?
Yes.
That's good.
Well, okay. So I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm curious why. Give me the.
Well, what I think is Pink Floyd had a lot of great albums, right? But I don't think there was any album that they had that where the concept was so clearly defined, it was so specific, as to be the focus of all three songs.
Okay.
And I say all three, even though there are technically 5 tracks, because I don't count Pigs on the Wing,
Okay. Why not?
because it's completely separate. It's it's an opener and a closer because it's so different from every other track.
It's real. I mean, it is really hard to write an album's worth of material that is a true concept. I mean, you're really talking about writing they use the term rock opera, but the emphasis really should be on the opera part of that. It is. I mean, you need really a storyline, and you actually have to. It's like making a film almost, and it's really hard to do. There's a couple bands that have been able to pull it off, but yeah, you're right.
It is
I mean,
very difficult.
Do we have any variants of opinions on the best Pink Floyd album at all?
Nah, like
I don't listen to Pink Floyd.
Dark
You
Side.
don't
I
listen
don't
to
listen
Floyd?
to Pink Floyd.
Gotta say Dark Side of the Moon. But
Do you like Dark Side of the
That's
Moon?
just their most popular.
It is. It also has that whole what do you call it? The whole Wizard of Oz
Yeah.
thing that people. Do you know what that? Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
What is it? Just for people that are listening, do you know what it is?
Yeah. It's basically if you start as I think the third roar
Yeah.
of the
Yeah, I think it's-
MGM
yeah.
logo, every song perfectly lines up with a scene from Wizard of Oz.
Except no one in Pink Floyd has ever confirmed that that's actually deliberate. It's more of a people project it. I don't disagree. It is kind of cool. Have you ever done it? Have you ever actually listened?
No.
I did it once with some friends back in college. It was kind of cool, but it was also kind of like, I just want to watch the movie.
Yeah.
They have a lot of. I mean, you're talking about a band that's been iconic for so long, and they haven't produced anything new in 30 some odd years. And some people would argue.
Well, they did have an album that came out in 2014, but most people didn't really care.
Yeah, well, I think it's hard if you put something out that doesn't involve enough of the original members in a way, because they have do you guys know much about their history and like
Yeah.
the kind of love-hate relationship? It is almost like the stereotypical brilliant group of musicians who cannot find a way to get along. I mean, they're still fighting. Three of the four surviving members are still fighting. Two of the members of the band have died. Sid Barrett, who was the original guitar player,
Yeah.
who went nuts apparently through an overdose of a horrible nature, unfortunately. And then the keyboard player, Richard
Wright.
Richard Wright, yeah. Who, as I understand it, I know David Gilmour, who's the more famous of the guitar players in the band. I'm pretty sure he was the one who said that Richard Wright was kind of like the same member, like he was like Pink Floyd's Ringo. Do you know what I mean? Like the guy that, like, you know, you can say what you want about who is the most important or the best whatever, although I think Richard Wright and Ringo both stand on their own musically. But apparently, in the same way that without Ringo, that band probably would have, like, imploded on itself way sooner than it did. Richard Wright apparently was the guy that kept everybody kind of grounded.
Yeah.
He had that reputation, which is kind of interesting. What's the so I'm way older than you guys. Atticus, you said you don't listen to Pink Floyd at all. Do you know some of their songs though?
No.
Really?
No.
Interesting. I bet you probably would recognize some of them and just not realize it's Pink Floyd, which is okay. Nick, do you know any of their Luke?
No, I don't.
Really? Maybe we should change topics.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But that's okay. That's okay. Real quick before we move on, what's your least favorite Pink Floyd album?
Probably.
Also, I apologize. I seem to have had the camera just continually focused on you.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite Pink Floyd album is probably Uma Guma, because I mean, it's kind of amusing because it has that one song, several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pick, which is just 5 minutes of simulated animal noises.
Gotta admire that.
I respect it, but it's also just like just not good.
Yeah. There was a trend in the 1960s, for what it's worth, when recording equipment for the first time was still expensive, but it was more universally accessible. There's a trend amongst people to do lots of just sort of experiments with sound. So you see all this music there's like so much music released, which is just like, so-and-so has a tape recorder. Let's go record something. What? I don't know, but we'll put it out. And people would buy it. You know, or they would, the first time people heard like a tape reverse, which is basically you record something and then you flip the tape over and play it back through, but it goes through backwards. And then that sets up a whole chain of, what are they actually saying? And it's, it's evil and they're trying to corrupt and blah, 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 blah.
I hate people that say that. That's
Yeah.
like
But that's been going on through history.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, anytime something new in the form of art comes up, there's always a
Yes.
group of people who say that it's evil for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, some of it's like in the history class that we have here, we talk a lot about just the fact that there's this, it's a control issue, you know. There's a new documentary out on Little Richard, which is not really appropriate in its totality for a public school, but there are some moments in it that are pretty interesting. And one of them is they point out early on, they're like, people forget that teenagers weren't a thing until the 1950s. It didn't exist. As a concept, teenagers, there was like young men and women, there were adolescents, but they weren't teenagers the way we know them now and have since the 50s. And historically, the point I was getting to is just that whole thing is really about control, because in the 50s in particular, and you maybe feel this way now with your own parents or families or whatever, and I'm certainly not judging or passing any kind of you should agree or disagree kind of statement here, but it was a sense of empowering youth. That was the problem with early rock. It was empowering youth. It was also breaking race lines and relationships, which I love the fact that in 2023, pretty much most people your age literally could care less about race and things like in fact, it's actually hard in that class to fully explain in a way that teenagers can understand how bad it was, because it doesn't make sense in your brains usually, because you're like, there's plenty of reasons for me not to like someone, but that's not one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the 50s, it was a big deal. And I mean, we're studying Elvis right now, for example. And, the number of people that were upset about Elvis, and then when you figure out that it was really just because he was such an enthusiastic supporter and fan of African American music. That's why they were upset with him. They would use the excuse of, he's dancing inappropriately. That wasn't the lyrics aren't.
So silly.
His hair, the clothes. That was not the problem. It was because the racial implications were going to be a seismic change in society. And the establishment didn't like it. You see it again with the Beatles, except now it's become more acceptable. Everything that's controversial is ultimately about control. And then weirdly, not every time, but the best example I can give you of this is Kiss. When I was your age, Kiss was like the most controversial band on the planet. Like, it was a big deal. And Gene Simmons' character of the demon did not help. Well, actually, it probably helped a lot. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they're so famous and so successful. That controversy sells.
Oh, yeah.
But people were freaking out. Now, nobody freaks out over Kiss. Ever. People bring their grandkids to Kiss shows. They've become literally the family entertainment. It's a little weird given the lyric content in some of their songs, but do you know what I mean though? Like no, the controversy does not exist. You go see a cover act of an Elvis impersonator or something like that. There's no controversy in that, right? I mean, unless I'm missing something, maybe. You might say I don't like his music, but that's a separate conversation. None of the controversies exist the way they do. Now you have to do like Kanye's kind of behavior to create a controversy, which I'd argue is well deserved. But that's a separate.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what do you guys think? I know we're jumping around on this one, but what do you guys think of the controversy surrounding him? Like now, I'm just curious.
I think it's yet another psychotic meltdown from a psychotic man. Is that going to get us sued for defamation?
No.
Or are we all good?
I mean,
I think we'll find out.
I mean,
I'm going to blur my face in this episode, though, so no one can tell I'm involved. No. I think you're fine. What were you saying?
I mean, I actually talked a bit more with someone else about this day, and they didn't listen to the episode, but I was sort of bringing up CMAS, and they asked about how well I feel about well, actually, it was just about the same question.
About
So
Kanye and controversy?
yeah, so I made like a quick summary of the episode.
Right.
And he said he still has friends that listen to Kanye.
Mhm.
Which
We did talk about this a little bit a few
I mean,
weeks ago. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
yeah, keep going.
I mean, I think it depends on how you listen to him. If you listen to him in a way that actually gives him financial revenue because of his modern art, then I don't think that's morally acceptable. But if it's like downloaded, then I can still see that the memories,
It's hard to know though anymore, because like, even just, I mean, having nothing to do with Kanye, just in general, the way music is tracked in terms of sales has gotten so convoluted. It used to literally be record stores would just count. We sold this many albums and we sold this many cassettes or this many CDs or whatever it was. It was literally just looking in their shelves. And now it's like, okay, it's all streaming, right? I mean, I know people are fans of vinyl and some people buy it, but fundamentally, there's no record sales of any significance anymore. They're just, unfortunately, there aren't. So then it's downloads, but then it's like, okay, yes, but did you download that song because you have a subscription? Or did you download because you actually went and deliberately purchased that song? And the numbers on purchasing of songs, subscription rates, or subscription participants, whatever you want to say, subscribers, is way up. It continues to rise. People actually buying even just a single individual track keeps progressively dropping. So how do you really know what's popular? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think they can still track the number of listens to and total time listened
They
to.
They can, but it's... I hate to sound one more time like an old man, but what the heck, I will. I'm doing a terrible job on cameras on this segment. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, when I was your age, the only way there were two ways I got to hear a song I liked. I was lucky enough that the DJ on the station I was listening to played it. Hit and miss. Or I could go and invest my own actual cash to buy a copy of the song, either as an album or a single or whatever, but actually physically have it, right? But I had to buy it, okay? So now, the thing of it is that, yes, I know you paid $10, maybe $15 for that monthly subscription. Or maybe you didn't pay anything. You're getting it off of, let's say, I don't know, YouTube or something, right? The thing is, your investment is not, generally speaking, I get $15 for some people a month is a serious amount of money. I'm not judging that or being sarcastic. It is for some people. And there's no disrespect meant in that. What I'm saying, though, is that $15 subscription gives you everything. You don't have, once you have, it's like that's the key in. Now you can pick whatever you want. There is no secondary tier of investment, other than, I guess, the time to listen to it, right? Yeah. It changes the narrative. I am much more likely, like if Luke, if you came to me tomorrow and you're like, hey, can you, tell me what you think of blah, blah, blah song, right? Okay. I'm probably going to go listen to it because that doesn't cost me anything more. 20 years ago, if you came to me and said, hey, you should go listen to blah, blah, blah song, I might still want to do it, but I'm going to probably have to invest. Maybe not 20 years ago. I guess I'm really old, 25, 30 years ago, but you get my point.
Yeah.
It changes so that the significance of that download isn't really the same thing. I've been watching for my own project lately. I normally ignore all the numbers because it'll make you insane. But it's kind of funny because there's been a recent slight uptick, which I'm grateful for. But I also keep reminding myself that it's kind of like not real. Do you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that there's, a few more people that are listening to what I've created, but it's not like they went to a record store and bought a copy of the cassette or the vinyl or the CD. Not that they could, because economically it's not worth making those right now. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of a different thing. So I don't know how that works. You look like you've got a thought.
I don't think this is like going back a bit. I don't think there's anything morally wrong with like listening to a song or an album by somebody who's a bad person, because artists get so little money off of streaming that it's actually kind of like sad. But
that's fair.
But I would like to add that if you're like buying merch or physical albums, or if you are going to shows, then that's like you're directly giving this person a fairly significant amount of money.
I think you're right. I do think, though, there is that whole issue of if it's popular enough that enough people... Like, there's different tiers of artists. I mean, the truth is, even with all of his controversy, if Kanye drops an album tomorrow, it's going to do well.
Yeah.
People are going to listen to it if only to witness the train wreck that they're expecting it to be part of. Which then does inflate his standing, even if it's all negative, right? Not to get too far back off the point, but in this Elvis movie we're watching in class, right? There's a scene where they're doing merchandising, and his manager comes up and they're showing stuff, and somebody in the back, you hear somebody go, "I hate Elvis," and he starts kind of laughing. They're like, "Wait, what? You're selling I hate Elvis buttons?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, because for every person who loves Elvis, there's probably even more people who hate it. Why should you be able to hate him for free? Let's cash in on both ends of it, right? There's no such thing as bad publicity, usually. Who knows? Anyway, gentlemen, I like talking to you guys. I know it's been a weird episode, but I like how you guys think. I like what you do here. Let's do this again next week. Let's find a band all four of you can get into. I'm serious. Let's make that our goal. Let's do an episode next week dedicated to a specific band, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. There's probably a band called the good, the bad, or the ugly, but I don't mean them. I mean like... No, but come up with one. I think that'd be really cool. You guys are awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.